What if I told you that the entire roadmap for a career in modern data privacy was just hiding in plain sight on a single web page? It's all there, a complete guide from total beginner to seasoned pro. So let's deconstruct it and trace that journey together. And right there, that's the key. This phrase, pulled straight from the source, is journey. And that one word tells you pretty much everything you need to know. This isn't just a job, right? It's not a checklist of skills. It's a path, a progression. It means a career in privacy is all about moving, growing, and constantly evolving. Okay, so that sounds great, but what does this journey actually look like on the ground? What are the real steps, the milestones you have to hit to get ahead? Well, using this webpage as our guide, we're about to lay out the entire map, step by step. So let's start with the big picture, understanding the path ahead. What's so interesting here is that our source material is basically just a list of professional courses. But when you look closely, it lays out this incredibly clear, structured path for anyone who wants to build a career in data privacy. And here's the main takeaway from that. A career in privacy isn't just a random collection of tasks you have to do. No, it's a deliberate progression. You move through these really distinct stages, building up your knowledge and your skills piece by piece. It's kind of like you're climbing a ladder, where each rung takes you closer to real expertise. All right, every journey has to start somewhere. And for a privacy pro, that first step is all about building a super solid foundation. So what are the absolute non-negotiable things you need to know right from day one? Well, the source points us directly to a course called Foundations of Global Privacy Operations. And that title says it all. This is the bedrock. It's telling us that before you do anything else, you absolutely have to understand the global landscape, the core data protection principles, and the basic operational frameworks that everything else is going to be built on. This is your starting line. Okay, so once you have that foundation locked in, the journey moves into the practical, day-to-day stuff. This is where you master the real challenges you'll face every day in the role. This is where you learn the tools of the trade. First up is a court task that gets summed up with the acronym DSR, or Data Subject Request. Honestly, this is the front line of privacy work. It's that direct interaction where you're managing people's requests to see their data, delete it, or fix it. It is so fundamental that our source has a whole course dedicated just to mastering this process from start to finish. Next up, we've got the PIA, the Privacy Impact Assessment. Now, if DSRs are reactive, think of this as being proactive. It's about playing offense. Before a company launches a new app or a new service, a privacy pro runs a PIA to hunt down potential risks. It's all about solving problems before they ever become problems. And that brings us to the DPIA, which is basically a PIA on steroids. It's a much more formal, often legally required assessment under laws like GDPR, especially for anything that involves high-risk data processing. The source actually groups PIAs and DPIAs together in one course, which shows you just how essential these tools are for managing risk and staying compliant. So let's just zoom out for a second and look at how our source organizes this whole curriculum. As you can see, there's a really clear logic to it, right? You start with foundations, then you dive deep into those core operations we just talked about, DSRs, PIAs, and DPIAs. It's a very clear progression, building one skill right on top of another. Okay, so you've built the foundation, you've mastered the daily operations. What's next? Well, now the journey leads to the summit. This is all about reaching that top tier, becoming a true expert in the field. So, how do you actually show the world you've reached that level? Well, according to our source material, it's all about two things: specialization and, maybe even more importantly, certification. See, it's not just about knowing the stuff. It's about having a credential that proves you have mastered these complex operations. And here's the proof right in the data. This number, 358. That's how many views the Certified Privacy Operations Specialist course has. And why is that a big deal? Because it's the most viewed operational course on the entire list from our source. That's not a random number. That's a signal from the market telling us that this certification is the goalpost. It's the credential that says, yep, I've made it to the top. But the journey doesn't just stop there. True experts, they're always looking ahead, right? The source highlights these really forward-looking topics, things like global consent frameworks, and even the future of privacy education itself. And what that shows us is that this field is always changing, and the top pros have to change right along with it. So when you pull it all apart, what we found on this one page is a clear, structured career path from novice all the way to expert. This journey into privacy, risk, and compliance is becoming more and more essential every single day in our data-driven world. So the only real question left is, are you ready to take that first step?